This video was brought to you by Skillshare. Alright, welcome everyone. My name is Kurt. I'm a comic book colorist. Welcome to my YouTube channel. This time-lapse, we're going to be doing a little breakdown on this Doctor Strange commission that was drawn by Adam Gorham, who I'm currently working on Blue Flame. A couple issues of that left. The flatting stage is actually a little faster than the rest, and then I'll slow it down a little bit because this is sort of, it's the boring part, at least to me. But I want to talk about composition, shape composition a little bit today. I think would be a good topic for this particular cover or commission or whatever this was. Whenever I'm setting up a cover like this, what I'll usually try to do is think of it in two different ways. There's the composition as it reads in your hands, at arm's length, and there's the composition that matters 10 feet away, on a bookshelf in a comic book store. What I try to do is think about it in terms of what can I do to make this stand out and give it shapes that are strong enough to be, let's say, described from way across the room, And so if you think about it in terms of what if this were like, say, the size of a playing card sitting on a table, 10 feet away, you're not going to be able to see a whole lot of detail, but you might be able to see, oh, well, there's a big red area at the top and there's a blue area at the bottom and there's a big yellow, sort of triangular diamond shape in the center, which is sort of what this one ends up with. And just being able to quickly describe the major shapes in those terms means you have to define those pretty clearly, and that's sort of what I was going for here. And so as I'm breaking this down and separating some of this out, we've got that whole red background on the top. We've got the red star field, the blue star field on the bottom, and then, like I said, those bright yellows in the center. I like the idea of making it look like his hands were actually sort of glowing from the inside out. And so what I did was sort of treat the middle of his hands and wrists and his forearms there as if it was sort of its own light source without any extra special effects on the outside. You can see the layer stack on the right. Most of what I'm working on is just on a hard light layer on top. And I started this one out with a red base and just really worked over the top of that. And that way, it's an easy way to sort of get, I don't know what they call it, like a mother color, I think, in painting of just giving a baseline for all of those yellows and oranges to sort of pull away from. But you can see when I zoom out, I mean, I love the fact, too, he basically has an arrow pointing to his face. Always useful if your character is wearing that. That will help with your focus there. So as I start working on those stars, let's take a quick word from our sponsor, Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes for creative and curious people. I intend to launch a new drawing and painting channel soon, and I still have no idea what I'm doing on YouTube, so I decided to check out Marquez Brownlee's class called YouTube Success: Script, Shoot, and Edit with MKBHD. I'm a huge fan of his YouTube channel. His skills are obvious. I found it to be a great class focused on exactly what I was looking for. In my case, how a pro YouTuber handles videos. Of course, there are thousands of classes on a huge variety of subjects with curated lists at the top classes in all the major categories, so you can jump right to the best classes right at the start. It's easy to find what you're looking for. You could pick up some new Procreate skills, get a better grasp of Clip Studio, learn some cool guitar licks, build a website, learn about logo design. There's literally something for everybody here. So the first 1,000 people to use the link on my description box or my code will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. So thanks again to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. Learn some cool stuff and support this channel at the same time. Now back to the video. So back to these stars. What I did on the stars, because it kind of went very quickly there, is I selected the inks themselves, and they're on a transparent layer. And invert that selection so that it only chooses the white. And then I shrunk the selection about 3 or 4 pixels. I can't remember. What that does, it allows you to color just the center of all those big, clumpy star shapes. But the contrast on this one right now is basically, bright yellow, oranges on darker colors, on the red and blue. Now, within that center little section there of all the oranges and reds and yellows, what you're going to see coming up here is I'm going to add a new value, a new brighter value, which is even higher than the current orange that's in there. And that value, which is that bright yellow color you're seeing there, gives you a little bit of contrast with that existing orange. And so what that yellow does is really allows you to kind of pull out the focal points that you want, and really, really make that head really come off that background. Now, what I will end up doing by the end of this, I'll also do some glows over the hands to pull those out even further and really kind of make it feel a little bit more impactful, I guess you could say. But it helps me to control it sort of one value at a time. Like I tend to start with, you know, mid-tones to, I say mid to dark, and then you can always get brighter, you know. And when everything like this one started, it was sort of, you know, mid-tones to dark. By adding just a little bit of yellow, it immediately, you know, adds a lot of contrast. So that's kind of what you're seeing here. I used a little bit of the lasso here because I thought about adding a little bit of kind of a sheen to his little outfit there, but I think I ended up sort of blurring some of that back in. It sort of felt a little out of place for me for some reason. I also started to add some brighter values in there, and I thought that was too distracting. I really wanted to keep the brightest values with the most contrast kind of right in the center. Especially you can see how Adam has got that huge sort of black collar. Is that what that is? I guess that he wears over his head. So I knew that I wanted the inside of that on his face to be, you know, one of the brighter areas on the piece, so that you'll get some of that, the contrast against that black. And this feels bright until you put a bright color on it. You can see that even that I'm using is still not white. It's close to white, but it's not white. But the fact that there's really nothing that bright on the canvas really makes it feel, you know, like it's a very, very bright value. And so that's an easy way to me to keep track of all of this. If you work on it in stages, you don't have to try to remember, you know, how much lighting you're doing where. I did a bit of a sort of a sketchy sort of line effect on his fingers. I knew that when I was done, it was going to have a glow over the top. And this is really one of those things to me that looks a little strange up close. No pun intended. But when you zoom out, it just really just adds texture. And it just adds a little bit of something interesting to it, hopefully. But we're getting on pretty close into the end here, I think. I ended up doing a couple of more tweaks, darkening his forearms and controlling some of those background colors. Threw a few shadows into the star field there. But yeah, this is a really fun piece. And if you enjoyed it, if you like this kind of thing, be sure to subscribe and comment and all that stuff you got to do on YouTube. Help me out. And check out the description if you want links to my coloring courses. I got a 50% discount, I believe it is, down there. Yeah, you can see me trying to play around with these glows at the moment. I thought about doing them on a levels adjustment, and I don't think I ended up using that. Or maybe I did end up using that. No, I just I put a yellow layer on top of the lines and everything, and then blurred them to make it glow. So yeah, just basically fill the colors in. There's me drawing the magic. But yeah, fill the colors in with one big flat color, and then on a new layer, and then just blur that layer, and that gives you that nice little soft edge around the fingers there. But now you can really see that contrast between his hands and then his head and the whole rest of the canvas here. So again, thank you for watching. Thank you to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. Here's a nice slow pan out. Thank you to all my patrons. Thank you to the YouTube members. Anybody supporting this course in any way, I appreciate it very much. See you all in the next one.